Ladies and gentlemen, our friend over at Totally Not Mark says he has the answer to all of Dragon Ball's plot holes. Let's find out.
People have a low tolerance for weak writing and downright hate plot holes. But given that I've spent so many years analyzing and loving Akira
I don't really know, to be honest with you. In some shows, I can agree. With Dragon Ball, though, as we saw with Daima, I think a lot of people care more about the fights more than anything else. Because Dragon Ball Daima kind of removed that element of a serious fight between the Goku they know, it really sparked a lot of controversy. So I do think there can be a difference, and I mean some people obviously they do care, but I don't think people care so much about Dragon Ball compared to everything else.
Toriyama's Dragon Ball, lately I found myself exploring these cracks in the story profoundly interesting. They say that you can learn a lot from studying your own mistakes, so perhaps I might be able to learn even more by studying a great storyteller's mistakes and weaknesses
True.
too. In my last video, I outlined some of my favorite plot holes, inconsistencies, and narrative contrivances from Dragon Ball, and this week, I want to take that one step further by going
True.
through each of these creatively weak choices or accidental slip-ups in order to see what it might have been like to be Akira Toriyama in those situations, and through using more than 20 years of hindsight, see if we can come up with a better solution. Now, at this
Oh, fucking Super Saiyan Rage. Oh my god.
juncture, you might be asking yourself,
Pisses me
how
off.
is that any different from rewriting an arc? Well, unlike your standard rewrite or what if, any change I make to the story in this video cannot impact the surrounding narrative. Take Frieza's
Okay.
training in Resurrection F, for example. In a few months, Frieza managed to become thousands of times stronger. This was a seemingly harmless decision, but it fundamentally changed how we thought about the Namek saga.
I'm okay with it. Here's the thing. Frieza's position, and this is why like I wanted to do this video because I'm interested to see where this goes, right? Because a lot of things that intertwine Dragon Ball's characters to their personalities and how they act is their power level. And it is where they sit on the pecking order of things. So if Frieza was just born with this innate gift of strength, of the fact that he is the strongest in the universe, which honestly, considering the Frieza race as a nature or the Frieza clan, whatever they're calling their race right now, um, considering its nature, I think if Frieza was weaker than King Cold would have just discarded Frieza. But because Frieza was so much stronger than King Cold as a top, I think that's why Frieza became the Emperor.
You see, in Dragon Ball Z, Frieza was terrified of an invincible Super Saiyan rising up against him and thus took precautions to prevent such an eventuality from taking place. This
True.
made sense in a world where Frieza couldn't get hundreds of times stronger with little effort.
Well, Frieza wouldn't know. Because if Frieza has never trained a day in his life, as stated, um, he wouldn't know how strong he could get because he was just that strong.
However, because of Resurrection F, we
Yeah, because he says in that movie, I think, that he never trained a day in his life. So that he really wouldn't know if he has untapped potential because he was always the strongest, aside from Majin Buu and Beerus, which his father warned him never to challenge.
now need to ask, if Frieza was so scared of the Super Saiyan rising up, why did he never train? I mean, he's capable of that, right? And so, in one sentence, Frieza sort of transformed from a compelling paranoid tyrant archetype into a procrastinator of the highest order at worst. One who would rather risk being killed than put in a single day's worth of effort.
I mean, that does kind of go with his character, though. Like Frieza is like a very like pompous, like I am the best because that's just me. Like I'm the best because I'm the best. Like Vegeta is like I'm the best because I was born in the lineage of being the best, right? But Frieza is just like I'm the best because I'm the best. And so that mentality does shift a little bit because He got his status as the Emperor of the Universe literally because of the fact that there is no one there that can beat him in a fight. No one. Like, literally no one. So, because of that, he chose to neglect many parts of what would have made him an invincible fighter, such as learning how to sense power levels. So, when we had that moment where, um, I can't remember what it was, if it was like a there was like something going on between the Goku and the Frieza fight, and Goku was like engulfed into something. I can't remember if it was like smoke or water or what it was, but Frieza could not sense where Goku was because like Frieza never learned how to sense power levels because he's a cocky little shit and because he's always been that strong and nobody's ever challenged him or even came close to his power level. That's another thing to keep in mind. Nobody has even come close, not even remotely close. We saw Vegeta try, but he was not even near close. Gohan did the best, but even then, Frieza was smart enough to know that it was fleeting. And then we had Goku, which defied everything that Frieza wanted to believe in, and that's why his character changed the way it did.
apparently. So here's my solution. Give Frieza a time chamber. His crew could have found it while he was dead, and it gives him a realistic means of catching up with Goku, all the while the rest of the plot of
It's funny how that works.
the film remains unchanged. So now that we know what we're trying to shoot for with this video, let's begin.
So this is what I'm wondering, right? Because like if you do that for Frieza now with what we know currently with the manga, which if we're talking hindsight here, Frieza finds another time chamber. So like his whole gimmick is just him finding time chambers and fucking getting stronger. That's the reason you can't really change it. You can explain away Frieza's transformation in the Resurrection F arc due to his character. You can explain that easily, right? Very easily. However, beyond that point, since you've established these new rules for Frieza, which never existed before, if you establish these new rules for Frieza, now you can expand upon those rules. And then that's how we get Black Frieza. If you guys don't know what that is, go search it up real quick and then jump right back to the vidya. It's pretty pretty easy and quick to figure out. Essentially, he finds a time chamber that gets him 10 years of training in a day or in whatever amount of time it was. I don't remember the specific amount. I do remember it was a lot, those 10 years. And then however many real life time. So Frieza does that. Comes back as Black Frieza. One shots our two favorite characters, Goku and Vegeta, and then proceeds to one shot the um, current big bad that was Gas. So I don't know. I don't really see it as a plot hole. More or less an inconvenience. I would say at the most.
Begin.
Ba-da-da-ba-ba-da.
Now, as many of you might already know, I am Irish. Diagwit August Conistáship. That, my
What the fuck did he just say? I just heard a bunch of fucking Conor McGregor shit.
friends, was the Irish language, or as we call it, Gaeilge.
It's the
But
only
there's a
Irishman
small
I can think
problem,
of.
because that language has actually been under severe decline for like the last 200 years for obvious reasons
Wait, what?
and less than obvious reasons. You see, the less obvious reason is me, and many kids like me growing up, didn't actually want to learn Irish, but I have since
Oh my god, they've been losing the language?
found that I really do. Not just for my own benefit, mind you, but also for the next generation. My daughter, I want to bring her up into an Irish school,
That's
and I want to be able to help
crazy.
her with her homework. It's a super important part of our background, our culture, and Rosetta Stone has made it easier than
Alright. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I kind of knew it was a plug, but like, we'll just get past this. W sponsor though.
Visual continuity errors, stuff like Yamcha's broken leg or the countless coloring mistakes. Those are simple fixes. Other
Well,
simple changes include scaling up Goku's Uzaru, not cutting Trunks' hair prior to the Cell games, and making goddamn sure whatever height you give Krillin, you keep that shit consistent. Additionally, while I'm sure that there are those out there that would want to edit the countless course corrections in the Cell saga, I have to disagree. The chaos and uncertainty
I do think you could have put Krillin in a position where he was the strongest human. 100%. 100% Krillin should be the strongest human. You could still kind of make him a joke, right? Because at the end of the day, even as the strongest human, you're still not even comparable to anybody else. And I know people are gonna say fucking TN in the comments. Stop being a fucking idiot. He's not a human, okay? He is part of a three-eyed race that is not human, okay? He is an earthling. There is a difference between an earthling and a human, okay?
of that arc is part of the reason it's so iconic and enjoyable. I would just make sure that Trunks doesn't call Android 17 and 18 by the wrong names early on. Okay, so now it's time for more complicated ones. Tao's first fight with Goku. Okay, so I know I gave
Okay,
Tao throwing his
classic.
pillar and it landing right in front of Goku coincidentally a lot of shit, but I do think it is a very hilarious gag. So the only change I'd make would be to give Tao a bit more of an accurate direction to shoot for. However, when it comes to Tao not checking Goku's vitals or person for the Dragon Balls, that's going to require a bit more creativity.
Okay. Well, the assassination part, I understand that. The cow throwing the pillar part, I don't think you change that at all just because of like how iconic of a moment it is for Dragon Ball. It's literally so good. And it sets the tone for Tao as a fighter and an individual threat at a whole different level.
One day later.
Okay, I've thought about this for way too long, and I think I have something. The fact of the matter is, it's too convenient for Tao not to verify on any level whether or not Goku is alive. Even if he is super full of himself, Goku demonstrated enough during their battle to warrant special consideration. And so,
Right.
now the question becomes, how do we get Tao to check Goku's vitals, identify that Goku is indeed dead, without killing our main character outright? Okay, I have got two solutions. One simple one and another that's utterly insane. Let's begin with the reasonable and simple approach. How about instead of Tao failing to realize he never stopped Goku's heart, he literally does? I mean, why not? Once he checks Goku's vitals and confirms that his heart
This would be doable because we've had Goku go through this already. If you guys don't remember, there was an episode in Dragon Ball Super where he has an all-out fight with Hit, and Hit literally instantly kills Goku. I mean, instantly. Like Goku never even had a chance. Like fucking Hit was like hidden away, and he did this thing where he points out like this, and then there's a freaking like I don't even know what you would call it, some sort of like sonic like energy thing, and it instantly caves in Goku's heart, and he just dies, done, dead. But before Goku went down and officially flatlined, he shot a beam up in the air to revive himself, and that's how he got around that. But he did for whatever few minutes he was out, and Goten and Piccolo were there. Um, he was dead. He was officially dead. Or was it Gohan that was there? I don't know. I think it was all three of them actually.
heart has indeed stopped beating, he can exit the scene with complete justification, leaving behind the Dragon Ball he didn't ever really know Goku had. And through doing so,
True.
gives Upa the chance to perform some sort of resuscitation on Goku, thus restarting his heart. Perfect, right? That's the simple solution. Now it's time for the batshit insane one.
How high is Mark going to fly with the upcoming solution? He's going to quote Robert McKee. He's going to steal an idea from Sherlock. He's going to reference a scene from AOT. He's going to kiss Tyson. D. A lock in D.
In Season 3, Episode 1 of the BBC series Sherlock, stay with me,
Fuck.
there's a scene where Holmes squeezes a small ball under his armpit to create an illusion for Watson, who is checking his pulse, that he is indeed dead. This sounded like utter bullshit when I first saw it, however, once I took to Google, it seemed that this has been
Actually, fuck, this works. No, thinking about it, it works because if Goku was smart enough to do that with Hit, then he would have definitely have initially thought of this solution beforehand, which makes that moment even better. That's so good. W fucking Mark.
being a magic/science trick magicians or dishonest actors have been using for centuries. It works under the same principle as something like a tourniquet, where, in this case, a ball, when squeezed under the armpit, puts pressure on an artery blocking blood flow to that extremity, effectively removing the pulse for as long as you squeeze tightly. To help this not come out of absolutely nowhere, it could be a trick Roshi plays on Goku and Krillin during their training as a gag. So yeah, maybe Goku,
Fair.
realizing that Tao is too strong and that Karin Tower is nearby, decides to conceal the Dragon Ball Tao doesn't know about under his armpit and uses it to fake his own death, sort of like how Roshi did before. It is utterly insane and is sort of out of character for Goku on a number of fronts, but
You could. The change I would make right here is that when Tao shoots the beam and it hits Goku, the Dragon Ball falls out, and then Goku's arms come together, and it's accidental. I think you accidentally have it happen where Goku squeezes his arms together, the Dragon Ball happens to be in his armpit, which he then squeezes together, causing the same effect to happen.
I thought it was funny to share nevertheless.
And then there could be a nostalgia moment where where Goku thinks of this as he's going down from Hit's blast, and then I'm getting way too into this, by the way, but fuck. There could be a moment where Goku recalls this in that moment where he is going down from Hit as a sort of like a flashing before your eyes type thing, and that's when he reacts suddenly to shoot the beam up in the air to come back and revive himself.
Next up, Goku versus King Piccolo, Round 1. Seeing as the circumstances following Goku's defeat against King Piccolo mirrors in many ways his defeat by Tao, I'm gonna have to switch things up a little bit. Unlike Tao, who would check
Fair.
Goku's wrist, we can clearly see Piccolo check his heart instead. The pulse trick won't work in this instance, and more than that, I don't think Goku would even try. The whole point of Goku's role in this arc is to be an impulsive hothead that pays for it in the long run. Furthermore, the Dragon Ball Goku has at this point isn't concealed in his person, it's hung around his neck. Clear as
Right.
day for Piccolo to see. Once again, I have two solutions in mind for this one, and I will begin with the simplest. With Goku's heart
Okay.
having stopped, Piccolo just leaves, like he does in the actual show, allowing Yajirobe to jump in and perform resuscitation
So the thing would be like Piccolo would have to be one cocky motherfucker.
techniques to kickstart Goku's heart again. I know, it's happened already, but it's a reasonable solution, and really it shouldn't be the draw of this particular scene. It certainly would feel a lot less random than Goku's heart suddenly and randomly starting up again. However, if you want a more cinematic solution, you could go with my second option. Having defeated Goku convincingly, Piccolo grabs the one-star ball from around his neck. Triggering a surprise attack from Goku, leveraging the little key he has left, he leaps to the side and attempts to get an angle of attack on Piccolo, only for the demon to comfortably dodge and mortally wound Goku in the process with an I-beam through his torso. Now, with the Dragon Ball in his possession, Piccolo has everything he came for. With Goku defeated and fading fast, Piccolo looks down to him with a smile as the young boy inches his hands over his face and says, "Yajirobe, I need a little help." Taioken! For those of you that don't know or don't speak Japanese, that's the solar flare. I feel sort of okay about this particular solution. It's already been established through techniques like the Kamehameha that Goku is able to mimic ki-based attacks incredibly fast. And given that Tenshinhan
True.
just used this moments prior in the Tenkaichi Budokai, I think it's reasonable that he could use it. And with Piccolo blinded, Yajirobe could potentially jump in to make the save and run off. Piccolo from there
This really depends on like how fast Yajirobe can be in this situation. Because I don't really remember like how. Because like obviously he's sneaky enough, right? Because he did manage to like cut off Vegeta's tail in Dragon Ball Z, but that's a big difference from Dragon Ball. I don't know like how effective he is for this moment.
There could just turn his attention back to the Dragon Balls, as he's not super concerned with Goku anyway, as he's probably just dead. He doesn't even know Yajirobe's there. And so from there, Yajirobe just takes Goku to the top of Karin Tower, where... Oh god, I hate this. Oh, let me think. Alright. The issue with the Ultra Divine Water isn't so much what it does for the character of Goku, but rather why it wasn't used at any point before and just suddenly showed up. Why are we only finding out about this now? And so, this is my solution. What if, once Goku arrives at the top of Karin Tower and eats a Senzu Bean, Karin reveals that he quite literally cannot help him? That he's already offered Goku everything he can by way of training in the past. There's no secret training he's withheld from him, and certainly none that would make up the difference in such a limited time frame. However, as soon as Karin finishes explaining, the sound of a droplet of water falling into a container positioned in the center of the tower echoes through the air. Goku moves to investigate the sound, all the while Karin quietly says to himself, he could say something like that. In essence,
Maybe this kid, I never would have guessed, maybe this kid is the Dragon Ball Z after all?
this would be Karin talking to Kami, with the implication being he's kept watch of Goku during and following his altercation with King Piccolo.
Hope you are right about this kid, because
And has
if you're
deemed
not,
him worthy of the Ultra Divine Water, thus filling what was once empty with Karin, making it available to him for the very first time. From there, Karin can go on to explain
Fair.
how it works just like the manga, perhaps with the added detail that this was a gift, or rather, a test sent from above. The threat to his life is still very much there. The effects it has are still there. It's just been linked more directly to the will of Kami. And I think quite
Gotcha.
elegantly, this proposed solution I've offered also has the added benefit of partially fixing the whole Kami is concerned about Demon King Piccolo but did nothing argument some folks have. Alright, that was the one I was most concerned about. Pretty pleased with how it turned out. Now I'm going on to Goku versus Raditz's tail. So the issue with this one is, why did Goku commit to killing both himself and his brother instead of just grabbing his brother's tail again?
yeah, there was a lot of plot inconveniences here. Like the first one everybody thinks of is why didn't Raditz just fly? Because like you have the ability to fly. I doubt that Goku being on your back or holding your arms is any sort of detriment to how you fly. It's not like you have a startup sequence and then you're over the weight capacity. Like if you could fly, you could fly in Dragon Ball. So that's the biggest one, right? And then you have the strategy itself by Goku going with a full Nelson, which is just fucking weird.
I thought this one would have had a small and simple solution, but for the life of me, I couldn't really think of one. There's no reason Goku wouldn't just grab his brother's tail again. Heck, him being as worn out as he was in the manga by the time the second opportunity presented itself only advocates more for him grabbing the damn tail again. It's like Goku wanted to die or something. With that said, I am not going to suggest nor advocate for Goku surviving this exchange. The shot of Goku and Raditz biting the dust together is way too cool to pass up, and I'm not about to cancel Goku's jog to King Kai's either. So, what is my solution? Well, the only way I can justify Goku leaping into a full Nelson would be to remove Raditz's tail entirely. Perhaps after Goku releases his tail, at some point in the fight, perhaps even via Gohan or there's such action-related scuffle, Raditz loses his tail, somehow.
I know how you do it. I know how you do it. So on the first time that Piccolo does a special beam cannon, he completely misses because Goku gives up the advantage, right? So instead of having Raditz get away scot-free, Raditz gets away, but it just happens to take his tail at the last second. So it very much weakens him. And then the way that you do it is that you essentially, at that point, have given Raditz a massive debuff, but because it'll take time for him to adjust to the fact that he no longer has a tail, that one gets rid of his ability to fly because he no longer has bodily control. We saw what happened to Goku when he lost his tail for the first time. And two, that's a perfect opportunity for Goku to jump in with a full Nelson and hold him in place for that second beam cannon to actually take effect. Knowing that Goku would be able to recognize that he didn't take as long to adjust to the fact that he didn't have a tail. So he would essentially already know that he needs to get him now, and they need to kill him before he does adjust, because once he does, he's going to be unstoppable. So that's essentially how you fix that one. You might have to switch the order of things, like because I can't remember if the first special beam goes off before Gohan breaks out of the pod, so we might have to swap those events.
Weakened by this, he still has enough power to kill both Goku and Piccolo, particularly since they're both fatigued and, one's missing a limb. And so this offers Goku only one option, and that's to tie up his brother like he does in the manga. It's a simple enough solution. I couldn't really think of anything else. Whatever. If you guys have a better solution, let me know in the comments. Next up, why didn't Vegeta help Nappa?
Oh.
To be
Uh-oh.
honest, at first glance, I thought this was going to require some convoluted solution not dissimilar to the Tau scene, but then I realized
This is one where I would argue it's against Vegeta's character, because like to fix this in a way where Vegeta actually gave a shit about Nappa enough to step in and save him would deny his character the absolute villainous ruthlessness and absolute danger that he posed as a fighter in that moment. Because let's be honest, it's not like Vegeta is not the same size as Nappa, so he doesn't have a visually striking like like, oh fuck, this guy's pretty big, he might kick my ass type shit. So you don't have that initial logic to be drawn from Vegeta's physique. So you have to create his character in a way that would portray that he is leagues above everybody else and that he is the true threat. Same way as they did with Frieza, as he got insanely small in his final form.
a very simple solution was staring me right in the face. In the manga, Vegeta appears distressed to discover Goku's en route and far more powerful than they had initially anticipated. Feeling the pressure, he screams at Nappa to kill them all this instant, as all of them together could pose a threat with Kakarot in the picture. All the while, he, Vegeta, subsequently does nothing. The solution here isn't to involve Vegeta in the fight or have him easily kill everyone prior to Goku's arrival. That would be insane and change the course of the entire story moving forward. The solution I have is to simply remove the concern from Vegeta's voice when he orders Nappa to kill them. Maybe nix the line about
Okay. I do like this. And there is, I'm trying to think. Was it Dragon Ball Kai? It might be Dragon Ball Kai where um fuck, I'm trying to remember. There was some there was a Vegeta at one point that said to Nappa that Goku was not, or Kakarot was not unbeatable. Stop losing your temper and you can win this. And I'm pretty sure that's pretty close to like word for word. He basically just said, "Stop being a fucking idiot and losing emotional control. You can beat this guy." That's essentially the stance I would take with Vegeta here. I would just essentially say, "Look, you're losing your temper. That's why he has the upper hand. Get control of yourself. Get control of the fight. It's easy."
Kakarot being a problem too. Who knows? Vegeta's downfall against the forces of Earth came down to a stubborn belief that he didn't require
Because another inconsistency that I would say Dragon Ball has is not using Vegeta's fighting wisdom enough. they make Vegeta seem like a fucking idiot half the time. And that really shouldn't be the case for somebody who has been conquering who has been conquering planets his whole fucking life.
The help of anyone to defeat
Since he
Kakarot
was a
or the
tot
Earthlings.
that we
And
saw in
so,
Broly.
given that that is who Vegeta is and what he believes and all that kind of jazz, I think to color his orders with this attitude in the face of this power reading feels in line with that story too. So yeah, my
Fair.
solution, just give Vegeta a chill pill. It's fine. Who cares
Snickers.
if Nappa dies? Who cares if they're all there? Next up,
Facts.
Gohan's tail regeneration. Alright, so I don't really have
Oh yeah, that was a bit of an issue, but I think it was one of those moments where they kind of wrote themselves into a corner.
much for this. It's kind of crazy. So the issue here is that Gohan's tail regenerates right at the very end of Vegeta's fight with him, out of nowhere. And so my solution to this is to rewind the clock during Piccolo's training with Gohan, and for Piccolo to, instead of discovering Gohan's tail has suddenly regrown during his training with him, have it suddenly regrow as Gohan is backed into a corner and low on energy. That way there's at least precedent for what transpires against Vegeta.
My problem with that is you have to make this a purely human thing.
Heck, it could even be attributed to the human Saiyan hybrid Nappa referred to as a Super Saiyan earlier in the Saiyan arc.
But I don't like this one. I don't like this one. Simply due to the fact that it has to be a lot more human than Saiyan. Because if it is a Saiyan thing, right? My problem with this is like if it is any part of his Saiyan genetics that cause the tail to regrow, you could argue that Vegeta, Goku, Trunks, anybody with a Saiyan lineage should be able to regrow their tails in moments of dire needs. Um, I'm gonna hear it again one more time.
That way, there's at least precedent for what transpires against Vegeta. Heck, it could even be attributed to the human Saiyan hybrid Nappa referred to as a Super Saiyan earlier in the Saiyan arc.
So, hmm. I think that's my biggest issue. My biggest issue is the fact that we aren't we aren't Quetzalcoatlus, okay? And we can't be out here regrowing limbs and shit. I fucking wish, but that is not the case for humans. We as humans can close our limbs, but we cannot regrow them. So for him to regrow an entire anatomy to his body is not a human thing, and it is also not a Saiyan thing. So it's like I'm trying to think of a world where this would be the case. My only thought process, I actually here's what I would do. I figured it out. Here's what I would do is if I'm Piccolo, instead of removing the tail, I train the tail. I train the tail because the easiest part the easiest part to fix and remain consistent is the fact that Nappa and Vegeta are just way too strong for RZ fighters. So you can do this. So essentially what happens is Gohan loses control. Piccolo finds out that it's the moon causing him to lose control. He blows up the moon, correct? So after blowing up the moon, he sees Gohan's tail. And he realizes after the fight with Nappet, I was about to say Nappets. After the fight with Raditz, he knows the tail can be a weakness. However, um, because uh, Piccolo would also know that because he can become a great ape, it would be ideal for him to keep the tail and him train the weakness instead. So he would essentially go on a spree where um while training Gohan, he'll randomly grab the tail and it'll paralyze Gohan, and Gohan will have to use the hybrid of his Saiyan abilities to come to terms with the fact that he can surpass this pain that he feels when somebody grabs his tail and essentially adjust to it so then it doesn't affect him in the fight. The same way it would work for Vegeta and Nappa, since it's already pre-established that they can adjust to this issue, then Gohan should be able to do the same. So, that being said, that could be easily accounted for and adjusted to, and then they can go on about their regular training like they did in the show. And then obviously, we do come up with a point to where um it was Piccolo that made the big mistake of grabbing Nappa's tail, thinking it would do the same thing it did to Raditz. You essentially X that out and you just say these guys are too fucking strong. Gohan was able to adjust, so they can probably adjust too. Or you could have Piccolo kind of go with the logic that Gohan is a hybrid and that's why he could adjust to it. And maybe a pure-blooded Saiyan can't, and he just took the risk. So that's how I would do it. So I don't know. I hope you see this, Mark, because I do think this is interesting.
English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
The spirit
W.
bombs can bounce. It might seem weird to think of this as like a weird writing moment, but there was really no evidence to suggest that you could bounce back a spirit bomb until right before.
True.
So here's my solution. Foreshadow this property of the spirit bomb or Genki Dama during Goku's first demonstration of it on King Kai's planet right before he leaves. Goku could perform the technique exactly as he does in the manga, only once he throws it, King Kai moves the target to test Goku's ability at controlling it. He continues to move the target until suddenly King Kai himself is in the line of fire. Trying to stop the bomb in its tracks, King Kai raises one hand and smacks the bomb into the target himself. He goes on to explain that the spirit bomb can be deflected by those with good ki. I think that's simple enough. It doesn't spoil the conclusion of the
Fair.
arc, and it does act as some decent foreshadowing.
Well, that's kind of interesting because, like, how do you argue, like, what is good key, right? Because Krillin, obviously, you could say he's becoming good at this point, but, like, I, I I guess that works, right? Because if you say good, he's clear, but if you say pure, then only Goku and Gohan would have it up until that point. Because Krillin's a pretty, he can be devious. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Krillin can be on demon time. Okay.
Popo's magic carpet travel bullshit. I have a really simple solution for this one. How about Popo can't teleport with his carpet? I mean, the entire point of his carpet teleporting in the first place was to just transition the story to the next location faster.
Yeah, I don't know why they just couldn't fly. It just didn't make sense.
Plus, it was also kind of funny for Bulma to be shocked and all that kind of jazz. Popo didn't need to teleport, he could just fly there. Toriyama probably just thought it was funny and helpful. If it was in any way consequential, we would have seen it more than a single time in the series. So for me, I'm just going to nix it entirely.
So, one thing that I thought was weird.
Bulma to be shocked and all that kind of jazz. Popo didn't need in the first place was to just transition the story to the next.
I don't like how much this looks like Namek. Because if you go and look at Namek, like this is the exact aesthetic Namek had. I don't know if I like that.
Location faster. Plus, it was also kind of funny for Bulma to be shocked and all that kind of jazz. Popo
That was funny.
didn't
W
need to
fit, by the
teleport,
way.
He could just fly there. Toriyama
I don't know
probably
about the
just
red
thought
pants,
it was funny and helpful. If it was in any way consequential, we would have seen it more than a single time in the series. So for me, I'm just going to nix it entirely. All right, time for the big Namek fish guy. This big
Oh,
dumb
shit.
fuck shows up out of nowhere as their get out of jail free card on Namek. Funnily enough, looking back, I think it's clear that Toriyama wrote this exchange when he realized that he had written himself into a corner accidentally. He wanted Krillin and Gohan to realize Vegeta was on Namek while not alerting Vegeta himself directly. Unfortunately, by the time he realized that that's what he was after, Vegeta's fight with Dodoria had concluded and he didn't have any other option but boom, giant fish time! So, my solution is rather easy because I, again, have like 30 years of hindsight. Dodoria is chasing Krillin and Gohan after they saved Dende. So, why not have Krillin and Gohan realize it's Vegeta after he blindsides Dodoria instead of after the fight concludes? That way, Vegeta is distracted by the battle at hand against Dodoria, all the while Krillin, Gohan, and Dende are granted the time necessary to sneak away out of range. Simple. Almost as simple as Tarble. So I've
I can't tell you how much I fucking hate this special.
got a simple solution for Tarble. Delete him from the story. No one will miss him. Not the story, not the special, not even his damn wife. And so with that annoying little one out of the way, we move into...
Yeah, I do agree with deleting Tarble. We do have the potential for a better Tarble to exist since they have kind of they've low-key reintroduced him in the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie. Um, and I do think that it will be worth it. I'm curious to see what they do with Tarble, right? Because you have Vegeta, who is initially bad. I think it would be cool to do like a yin and yang sort of thing with Tarble, right? So you have Vegeta who was bad that became good. I think you have a Tarble that was good that became bad. Say due to his dire circumstances, instead of finding family in Bulma and Trunks, he found nothing but pain. We do a Sonic and a Shadow sort of situation with this. I think is the best way to go about this, and it's perfect. Perfect fucking character writing for this. And then we can take a Tarble and we can make him into the badass that he should be, considering he's Vegeta's brother. And we can twist it into a way where Vegeta not only gets a character arc, but also actually is truly the good guy in the situation. Because Vegeta's like the good guy, right? But he's not truly the good guy, because that's Goku's role in the whole thing. Like Vegeta is meant to have a little bit of edge to him, but it would be the first time where Vegeta would truly look like the good guy, having to stop his own family from causing destruction unnecessarily. And you don't have to get rid of Tarble here. You can have a moment where Tarble comes to terms with his past and Vegeta kind of brings him into the light, which would do wonders for Vegeta as a character, and it would do wonders for Tarble as a character, and that would set him up to be a part of the overall cast at like a Broly sort of level.
to the final but by far the largest plot hole of
Oh,
the
for
entire
fuck's sake.
story,
I
the
hate
Future Trunks
this.
arc of Dragon Ball Super's Spirit Bomb Sword.
Fucking get rid of it, please. Please get rid of it. I am not. Okay. I am not opposed to this form in design existing. But the concept of Super Saiyan Rage is the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
You might have thought that this would be an easy fix, but what if I told you that I have been working on this solution for almost a full year? This scene
This
is
shit
so
sucks.
preposterously stupid, with zero thought put into the reasoning behind its conclusion, that I sincerely thought this would be really simple. Going into this video,
It was the most blatant cash grab Toei has done ever.
I was certain that the Ultra Divine Water or Tao or King Piccolo were going to be the ones that caused me the most trouble. But this one is my nemesis because it has no obvious solution. It has no reasonable substitutions to make or straightforward fixes. I could just say, hey, let's change it to the way Toriyama did in the manga, but that's depressingly unsatisfying, number one. Number two, it changes too much. And number three, I wanted to see if there was a way I could make this Spirit Sword BS work. This scene, It confused an entire generation of Dragon Ball fans. For Trunks to
True.
accidentally use the Spirit Bomb would be like a newbie walking into a gym and accidentally qualifying for the Olympics. To say I hate this sequence would be an understatement.
The annoying part is, like, he's right, but there are anomalies like this, and it's so fucking annoying. It's so annoying. And the funny thing is, like, not on the Olympic level, but on a level, I was subject to witnessing something like this, where in the old MMA gym that I was a part of back in Iowa, I was there, I was training with everybody else, and one day this kid walks in off the street. And we all know how this goes. You see the videos online. Oh, street tough guy comes in and he gets his fucking ass kicked, right? So one of our amateur boxers steps up to face this guy. Well, this fucking guy, self-taught, never a part of any gym, off the streets, two-shot one of our boxers. Two-shot. It was the most ridiculous thing I've ever fucking seen in my life. And you could tell that he was a complete rookie. His stance was not correct. His movement was like what's the best way to, like, rough and like jagged. Like he wasn't smooth with how he moved. Like when they say like boxing is a dance, it really is a dance. Like MMA was my thing, right? But this was an overall gym. It was technically a jujitsu gym, but it offered MMA and boxing as well as kickboxing. So it was basically your overall MMA gym, which I don't know about how it is on the coast and stuff, but here in the Midwest, that's about how you're going to find all of them because you don't really get enough people coming in for just one type of fighting aside from like younger generations, like kids and stuff who come in for like karate and taekwondo. I do know that those gyms that are just solely those, I do know those exist. But as far as like MMA and like serious like high level fighting for like future UFC fighter type shit, it's usually an all encompassing thing, which is like good and bad. I do think that gyms that prioritize certain fighting styles are better at teaching you those fighting styles because they're not divided on how they want to teach you certain techniques and things. But aside from my tangent, there are talented people who do show up and they do crazy fucking shit like Trunks does. And it's so fucking annoying because you got somebody like me who's like been training for a long time and I was okay. I was okay. I wasn't the greatest. I was okay. Um, but I wasn't. I noticed that like people who are naturally gifted at this, right? And I won't even say gifted. Honestly, I won't even say gifted. People who have a natural mentality for fighting are definitely the ones who do better than somebody like me who doesn't. I am naturally a peace giver. I like to give peace and I like to enjoy peace. I don't like chaos. I don't enjoy being in the fire, so to speak. Uh, but there are people who do, and those are the people that excel. Those are the people that love it. They crave it. And those are the people who tend to do better when it comes to having the mentality for fighting. 'Cause me, like, I put in the work, right? I put in the work, but I put in the work for a logical perspective. Like, I wanted to be able to defend myself in public. I wanted to not feel like a bitch when I fucking go outside, because there was a point where because like my channel is called Bearded Bear 9000 for a reason, right? This is a soft tangent here. Um, my channel is called Bearded Bear 9000 because I got obsessed with bears due to the fact that they can be the most dorky, nerdy, stupidest fuckers on the planet. And in the second of you reacting to them and laughing and thinking it's all good vibes, they can just fucking knock your head off your shoulders. I became addicted and obsessed with bears ever since then. And because of that, I've kind of taken the bear on as my moniker. It's my spirit animal. It's how I want to formulate my life, right? I want to be this teddy bear on the outside, but I want to be able to have that grizzly ability on the inside. I want that beast to be in there when I need it, especially when especially because like I am kind of that guy anyway. I'm kind of an outdoorsy fucking living in the woods. I don't like being around the city much type guy. It's kind of funny because I was born and raised in the city, so you would think, you really wouldn't want to leave that type of life, but here I am. So, I hope you guys enjoyed that soft tangent. Here we go.
Statement. I spent months trying to find a solution to this one scene. I agonized over it
That
for
fucking scene
ages,
sucks. I
until
agree.
finally,
Shit's
I
ass.
found the perfect solution. In fact, it's a solution that I was so proud of that I, in honor of the late great Akira Toriyama, decided to produce my very own manga chapter to present you all with.
Oh
It's
shit!
written by me, illustrated by some incredibly talented artists, and next week I
Fucking
will share
W,
with
Mark.
you the solution we came up with and the insanity that was that
Never mind. L Mark on this motherfucking video, you son of a bitch.
chapter's production. Plus, thanks to our friends over
A
at Team
cliffhanger?
you will also get to see it
You
complete
goddamn
with voiceover
assholes.
and sound effects. I look forward to sharing this tribute with you all. Be sure to subscribe.
You son of a bitch. How dare you? Can't believe I let you blue balls me into that, you son of a bitch. Fucking goddamn motherfuckers. You know what? Yeah, see that? You see that? Yeah, see that? That's how I fucking feel about that. That's how I feel about that goddamn ending. Just kidding. I'm gonna like it. Go to Totally Not Mark, man. Sub, like, give him love on that video. That video was awesome, dude. Absolutely awesome. I agreed with some of it. But I do think that there were some better solutions for some of the ones that I described. And the ending, Super Saiyan Rage, I hate so much because it's like it's it's such a good concept that could exist, but the way it was implemented was some of the worst Toei animation fucking Dragon Ball bullshittery I've ever seen in my life. So, that being said, I appreciate Mark for going through it. And if you guys want to see me react to the little chapter that he made addressing said problem, make sure you give this fucking video some crazy amount of love. Because if you don't, then y'all will never see that reaction. So, that being said, uh, subscribe, like the video, and comment down below your favorite hot sauce if you made it this far in the video. And if you didn't, you're a piece of shit. So I'll catch you guys later. Peace.